Second magic mind of the day. Normally, I'm a morning magic mind girl. I swear, I don't know how to literally get up without. That's what I do. I make my magic mind with my ginger and my cinnamon. I've actually been putting even more fun shit in it. My creatine powder so that I can keep my muscles. Some trace minerals, which taste like shit. So then I put a little stevia in there. It's my first witch's brew of the day. But it makes me feel so calmly energized. But here I am, it's Friday afternoon, and I want to do some writing. And I just went to the acupuncturist, so I'm in this really kind of chill mood. And I'm like, I need a little boost, but I don't want to do caffeine so late in the day. So I'm having my second magic mind. And I know that it's going to help me feel creative and alive, but not jittery. And I don't have to, I get to write some beautiful emails for some courses coming up, the Become the One Mastery, and which I'm really, really looking forward to. And it's interesting because as I'm putting this course forward, I haven't done a 7-week course in a long time, 6-8 years or so. And my processes have developed. I only had 3-5 processes then. Now I have 10 Allana Pratt method processes, 5 of which are going to be in Become the One. The other 5 are going to be in Find the One or Awaken the One you're with. So as I was interviewing this amazing woman, Magda Kay, wow. We're both 6'2" in human design. We got on like a house on fire. She's so cute. She has a crush on me. I'm like, that's just so sexy. And she's developing a certification with all that she's learned. And so, at least for me, and I didn't actually ask Magda about this in the interview, but I'm not really my brain doesn't do system structures, organized. I'm not like that. I'm more kinesthetic and I'm energetic and all the rest of it. So it's a little hard for me to write emails and structure, but I'm doing it. And so my magic mind is helping me stay focused and do it. You're gonna love this interview. She was so gracious in my vulnerable question asking. She was so honest in where she is in her evolution. And by the time you see this interview, I think I'll already be in Estonia, but she's in Poland. And I was like, oh, come visit me. I just adore her. So we'll see what magic life has given us. If indeed I was able to see her by the time you see this interview. Enjoy and allow not just the information, but the energy to do what it's going to do. Awaken you, trigger you, nourish you, I don't know, turn you on. We'll see. Enjoy. Welcome to Intimate Conversations. Become the one. Intimacy is an inside job. Hello, delicious people. Welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations. Here we are, season 12. Become the One. And this month, we're going to be talking about conscious communion with the beloved, that you are the one that you have been seeking. And I have with me a beautiful goddess sister. It's my first time to meet her. So even though I wanted to talk to her before the interview, I'm like, no, I'm just going to wait and ask all these juicy questions live together. All of us, we're all in a little sexy lair or something. Having a delicious conversation. Let me tell you more about her, Magda K, and you can find her at that site as well, magdak.com. All of this is going to be in the show notes for you. But she's an intimacy expert like me. She's a Tantra teacher, not like me. And she's the conscious relating coach, author, and founder of the School of Intimacy. And more than 10 years ago, she quit her corporate job and she embarked on a journey that led her through ashrams, yoga trainings, tantric communities, ceremonies, through hours of daily devotion and practices into her deepest parts, facing the wounds and the fears. But it also revealed her highest calling, which is to share and teach others how to access their deepest desires and ability to create transformative intimacy in their lives. And her work combines the gifts of the East and the West, a blend of tantric and yogic philosophies with psychology and human behavior. And her book is called No More Faking It, Sisters. It doesn't say sisters, it just says No more faking it. A woman's guide to getting the love, pleasure, and fulfillment she deeply desires. And you can get it on Amazon, but also on her site, there's this pop-up that happens and you can get it for only 99 cents right now. So go for it and have that be one of your sizzling hot summer reads. And before we came on, we haven't met each other before, but she was even, well, I'll let you say, it was really flattering. What did you say when we first were like, hi?
It's like, hi, lovely to see you. And I feel like I need to start this call by telling you that I think I have a little crush on you.
I love this. A good girl crush is awesome, is awesome. And I just want to thank you. We can go deep right away. We don't have to do the preamble. Like you walk this talk like I do. So what a pleasure to be able to be so authentic right out of the gate. Like most people wouldn't even say that. But I knew from the moment we met and you said that, I'm like, oh, I like her. She's real. She's honest. She's
Yes.
vulnerable. Yeah.
Thank you. And I do want to reflect that from the moment I first saw your website, there's this beautiful energy that you have around you. And this is, you walking your talk. You're just an embodied woman. And it's so beautiful to witness. Because like you said, it's amazing to have someone who's also calls themselves an intimacy expert, not like a sex coach or a relationship coach, but really focusing on that art of creating deep connection. And it's true, when you go through this path, you just radiate different energy. It's felt. And I truly believe that ultimately this is what we really desire. And to me, I mean, I'm jumping right into this, but to me,
that's how I like it.
Such a
Do
broad
it.
concept. It's way more than a romantic relationship. And I think it's beautiful. So I'm so excited to see where this conversation will take us today. Because I think it's honestly so needed. It's so needed. Like when I sometimes see people on the street or I see people on a date and I'm like, guys, like, please be with each other. You're not even present. So I think we're missing it and we really, really need it. So just amazing that you're doing this work, really.
Fucking love you, woman. Where do you live on this planet? Scotland. Did I read that right? You do not have a Scottish accent, though.
No. I'm Polish, so I'm from Poland.
Yeah.
But I've been all around the place. I'm pretty much a nomad. But I did spend, oh gosh, I'm really bad at this, like 7 to 10 years. Don't ask me to count it properly, living in different types of conscious and tantric communities.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And right now, where is the nomad landing pad?
My pad. So I'm back in Poland, which means
Okay.
I'm in the city. And literally just like a few months ago, I moved to a new place, which is in the city center. And it's such an interesting adjustment for me because I spent so many years living on a small island, really. It's a whole different lifestyle, living in a community. And now I'm back in the big city where I don't know a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's just so different. And I feel like I'm still adjusting to the life in the big city. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to just follow that for a second. Why did you make the move? What inspired the choice of back into the city?
Well, so okay. I spent in total 13 years in Southeast Asia, and I love this part of the world. Like that's just, oh my God, the energy of this area is just incredible.
Yeah.
But I also love Europe. I'm from Europe, and anyone who's been to Europe or anyone who is from Europe listening, I think Europe is just so magical. And I always loved spending spring and summer here. The cities are so beautiful. You can walk and just everything is so beautiful, especially south of Europe. I have this like an ongoing romantic story with south of Europe. But then I was in Asia and I always loved it. Year after year, I loved it until about 2 years ago. I was in Europe for the summer and then I returned this time to Bali. And, just like things were not working. One thing after another just were not working.
Yeah.
And it kind of forced me to own something that I was really scared to admit. And it's the fact that I was no longer happy in Asia. And, I've never been married for 10 years, but it feels a little bit like imagine you're in a long-term relationship that's healthy and that's good, but you just feel that you need to go. And there's no reason. It's not like there's something that's wrong. It's not that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong about Asia. I just felt that it's time to come back to Europe. And I don't yet know how it's going to evolve. I'm now in Poland, but I don't really see myself staying here. But I don't know where I'm gonna go. So I'm just like, okay, life show me, what can I do? So
Mm.
we'll see. I'm still like, beginning this new European chapter, but it's just the first few lines.
Wow. It's kind of wild because this will air right when I'm going to be in Estonia for a
Oh,
week in July. Is that close to Poland?
it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Yes. So, I mean, I'll tell you like this. So I always like try to like give this metaphor to people. It's like traveling between states. It's like traveling between countries in Europe,
Right.
but it's actually pretty close. Like I think the flight would be about an hour and a half. Yes.
Oh, that is pretty close. Well, then we're going to stay in touch
then
because
you should
maybe,
stop by. Yes.
yeah, maybe I'll stop by. Yes, absolutely. Wow, I love this. I used to live in Japan and traveled
Oh,
to Thailand and Bali and China and a bunch of, so I really understand that Southeast Asian feel. And I'm a little bit older than you. I think I was probably there during the same decade that you were there in your life. And it's just nourishing for our feminine soul. Uh,
yes.
I love that. And it seems maybe, I don't know, but maybe moving back to Europe is our divine masculine energy when we're really here to serve and give. That feels like maybe the next step in your evolution. I have no idea, but we'll discover
Mm.
more in this conversation. I wanted to share a quick story about what you said at the beginning, that you're out and you see these couples and they're not even present with one another. And you know that there's so much deeper. I remember when I live in Charleston, South Carolina right now. I'm in a conscious uncoupling relationship right now. So I'm still living with my former boyfriend. And when he first took me on a date, we, so the Charleston streets have these like cobblestones and these gas
Oh,
lanterns. And we were sitting on a front there was two swing tables on the front of the restaurant. It was epic. And the first couple
wow.
beside us, I just can't help myself. And I'm just like, hi. And I heard it was their anniversary from the waiter. And I said, so tell me, what's one of the favorite memories you have of your marriage? And they looked at me like first, like, we don't talk about that kind of thing, but to watch them, Magda, light up, drop in,
Mm,
share, receive. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And this was the first taste my
mm.
boyfriend had had of me just flitting around, loving people everywhere I go, inviting depth, inviting juicy conversations. So, do you do the same thing? Do you like
Um,
flit around and
well, okay, I love the story.
yeah,
Because I always say that one of the ways is to invite more intimacy into your life is to start asking better questions.
yeah, yeah.
When people are like, hey, where are you from? What do you do? And all of that, it's just like, oh my goodness, like, do you ever feel like alive when people ask you that question? So
No,
ask better questions. So when I, for example, speak to my friends, another question that everyone dreads, it's how are you? And it's like, oh gosh, I could either now spend half an hour telling you how I am, or I can
yeah,
just say like, yeah, I'm fine, and then ask you, how are you? I'm fine, and then so what's next?
right.
So for example, one of the questions that I love asking my friends anytime we do a bit of a catch up, it's like, okay, tell me like three or like the most exciting thing that's happening in your life right now. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't want to maybe make them too uncomfortable with weird questions, but I just want to make it a bit like, what makes you feel alive? Like, what are you excited about right now? So
yeah,
I honestly feel that so much like we get to change the interaction, the relationship just simply by the questions that we ask. Because I feel like, the couple really showed you everyone wants that depth. It's just people don't know how to get there.
yeah,
So if you can be the one inviting the other person to go deeper back into their body, into the feelings, like, ooh, people want to open up. It's just they don't want to be the first one to ask the question.
yeah.
But once you do, you'll see they will most likely match you. They will do their best to go deeper. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think I necessarily come over to people, but it's been a bit of a change in my life. I used to be like, see someone right away. I don't know why. I'm in this interesting phase of just going really inwards and not being
Mhm.
very social, and just kind of when I see people, I'm just like, okay, that's their path. I'm just keeping to myself. I feel like I don't know, maybe just some form of realignment. I don't want to be giving
Yeah.
unsolicited advice. I'm like, okay, where is my integrity? And I feel I'm in this phase of just like I'm keeping everything to myself. If you want, there's my content online. But unless someone asks me, I don't really want to be giving any tips or questions, etc. But let's see how it goes. Again, I believe we live in chapters. So that's just the chapter that I'm in right now.
Oh, I love this. I love this chapter. My do you know like human design?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to wait to respond. So I do
Okay.
better when asked a question. But then sometimes I just can't help it. I just need to like play,
Yes.
connect.
So I am 6'2".
Oh, so am
Also,
I.
is it? Oh my God! See, this is it. So
Wow.
I don't know how old you are.
54.
I'm okay because I'm 38, and so I'm
Okay.
right in the middle of the second phase, which is meant to be the hermit phase of going inward. So maybe that's just it. I was literally talking to my bestie about it today. But I don't know. I feel honestly when I look at life, and it's the same with intimacy. I look at things like it's a pendulum. You know, it's like I feel like I'm very open to people. I want to connect. And then other times I'm just connecting to myself because I don't really want that connection with others. I always say that as long as you have intimacy, as long as you're connected, it doesn't have to be necessarily other people, but be connected to life, to yourself. And then you always feel full and satisfied. And that core for me is always essential. And I feel maybe especially being in a big city where it just feels a bit foreign and the energy is very different. Maybe I just need a bit more, you know, to focus on myself, hence more of an inward direction for now.
No, it makes total sense. So for those of you that don't know human design, we are hermit role models. That's what our 6'2" means. So one of the reasons why this conscious uncoupling is happening is I need my cabin on the lake. I'm right in a city with people all around me, or not even a city, but there's houses all around me, people all around me, and my system never rests. And that, seeps into the relationship. So not that anything was tremendously wrong, just not enough aligned. And so I'm going to have my cabin hermit world. So I completely understand that energy. I also love what you just said about intimacy, connect with self first, right? There's this exercise I was taught by one of my teachers. Pretend this is like a dowel, like a piece of wood. And you do these exercises. One time it's like, I'll dominate, and the other time you'll dominate. And now neither will. And we'll just see what arises in the space. But before you do that, before you even pick up the dowel, you connect with yourself. And if you don't, you lose yourself. So tell us more about how you discovered this connect with self, intimate with yourself. I know we have 3 hours.
Losing myself. That's like, okay, so how many hours do we have? Yes. Look, probably like most people, you find it by losing yourself first. So when you lose yourself and you start feeling the pain of what it's like to be disconnected from yourself, eventually, like I got to the place when I was begging God really to just save me. I was like, I don't know, but please take this pain away. And so slowly things started coming into my space, guiding me where to go next, like exactly the ashram in India, and then to Thailand and Bali and these different places. So I was meeting the right teachers or people who would tell me about a school or these teachings. And for me, it was really Tantra that opened me up. Now you said that you're not a Tantra teacher, but oh, darling, you're a natural Tantrika.
I love this, darling.
So for me, that was the path that helped me to reconnect to myself. But honestly, I'll tell you this. I've done so much, of personal growth and spirituality, so many different modalities, different workshops, retreats, like just like for a decade, more than a decade, that was my life. And honestly, if I look at myself today and myself before all of that experience, the main shift literally is in the fact that I actually have a relationship to myself.
Yeah.
So, anytime I'm back in Poland, I always stay for a few months with my parents because that's mostly why I would come here to like see my family. And unfortunately, my parents are not the best example of like conscious communication or respect or love. I literally see the opposite. But the pain that I see between them, it all comes down to them being disconnected from themselves. So let's say my dad says something that upsets my mom, and then she's unable to go within to understand what this is really about. So everything is externalized. Everything is projected. Everything is someone else's fault. Now, it's not to say that my dad, is not doing anything wrong, because I'm like, he's not, unfortunately, the best partner. I know that. But I feel like it's like, oh, it's because of you. And anytime I try to like talk to my mom and kind of invite her to go within, she doesn't want to, because again, if someone doesn't want to or is not ready, you can't force that, because it's really scary really to go in. But honestly, I tell all my clients, I just want you to be a bit crazy, as in I want you to talk to yourself, like actually talk to yourself and have split personality. So you know, you mentioned my book. So my book, No More Faking It, it's about working with these 4 voices. So I call them your 4 power centers, and it's your head, your heart, your gut, and your pussy. But ultimately, it's a form of parts work. So I'm just like, please understand there are different people living inside of you, and please talk to all of them. So that's what I want my clients to do, because that's essentially how you build that relationship to yourself. Like you actually have to close your eyes, go inwards, and simply start talking to yourself. Yeah.
I so get it. One of my processes is little you. And it's towards the heart. And I love this conscious communion with the beloved is sort of a combination of all the parts. I never knew the power. I knew there was power in my hips. I knew there was power in my pussy first, but there's a new, I don't know if it's encompassed or quite what, I'm still exploring it, but there's a way of a wholeness. Like there's a joy and a bliss and a oneness and a sovereignty kind of in my heart, but there's something different as I'm spending more time in my hips, where I used to think my job was to wake everybody up, even if they didn't want to be woken up, because I love you. I have a gift to give. Like no, let them sleep if they're asleep. That's not your job. And when I'm down in my hips, I have instant compassion, humility, a lot more grace. But when I was just sort of in my heart, I was just so excited, and I didn't read the cues. I didn't know to go, you say you want to do coaching, but you actually really don't. You actually aren't open. You want the result, but you're not actually ready or willing to do what it's actually going to take to feel and heal. And I wouldn't listen to that knowing, because I wasn't listening deep enough. I was just listening to their intention, and I wanted to help. But now that I've dropped down more into my hips, I can hear almost like behind the words, true. And yet I don't think it's time. And I was also more in scarcity. Well, I need another client and they want to work with me. Let's do it. When I first started, it was like, do you have a checkbook and a pulse? Let's work together.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you're alive. Great.
You're alive. Fine. We'll do it. And now I have great protection of the community that I've gathered. And you don't get to come in unless you really are willing to do the work. And I'm willing to say thank you, but no thank you, as I've evolved. So explain more about your book, which again, you can get at magdakay.com or Amazon. But tell us more about your thoughts about the hips, the wholeness. What have you discovered?
First of all, I want to say I love how you shared your story, that you were so much in the heart and then you discovered something. So I talk about these 4 centers, and in a way, each of them represents a chapter of my life where I was worshiping that specific center. So I come from the West, right? Like probably most people, you know, business school, corporations, that's all the head, right? Goals, move forward, career, etc. Now, it's a very useful center if you think about it. It's very important because, you know, the sense of achievement and being challenged and accomplishing things, it's really essential for human beings, for our, you know, psychological health. It's really important. But when you only listen to that center, we all know what happens. You know, you have no intimacy, no love, no connections, you get burnout, like, you know, your life is empty. So then I moved into more like spiritual paths, which is all about the heart, right? Like you said. And yes, and of course, heart is beautiful. But again, if you only allow the heart to rule your life, there is a shadow of that, because the heart, it wants love and connection, but it also has the shadow meaning. Heart, it's quite naive, and it thinks that love will conquer all.
Oh, right. Everything's love and light. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not exactly how life works, right?
Right.
Like there are some rules, for example, you know, and also, and I experienced that, the heart is responsible for keeping us in bad relationships. you know. And it's like,
Mm.
I remember actually someone telling me about my ex, and she was saying, yes, but he has such a good heart. And I thought about it and I said, well, everyone has a good heart. That is literally the
Mm.
definition of the heart. But
Mm.
that's not enough. This
Yes,
relationship
yes,
is not
yes.
healthy. That's
Mm.
not enough. So again, so heart important to listen, but not only the heart. And again, there's a lot of like spiritual or like new age paths as well that are just like listen to your heart, listen to your heart. Then I got into Tantra, and this is about the hips, right? And I love this concept. It's like, wow, like my sex center, my sexuality actually has some wisdom to share. I'm like, this is amazing. Let me talk to her. Let me actually connect to her. Oh my God, she had so much to say. Again, very beautiful. But what the sex center, and it's both for men and women, what it's all about is pleasure, not
Mhm.
just sexual pleasure, but all pleasure. And again, it's so important to have fun in life, right? Don't take things too seriously. Be like childlike. Just be careless every now and then. Just enjoy being alive.
Yeah.
But again, the downside of that is that the sex center wants everything now, instant gratification. It
Right.
hates anything, you know, about responsibility. So then I was here, right? And I thought this is it. Because if I heard like different stories, this would be the three centers. And then
Mm.
I got myself into a situation, and I write about this in details in the book. But I was getting a driving license for a motorcycle. And my instructor, to be fair, it was not the kind of a man that I would ever want to have anything to do with. It's just like the opposite of a tantric man. But he
Yeah.
was hitting on me so much. Like every time we were together in the car, he just kept pushing. He tried to kiss me a few times. And I was just like, oh my God. And then one day he kissed me, even though I didn't want to. And I got wet. And I'm just, whoa, what's happening here?
Yeah.
This is confusing. So
Yes.
if I was just listening to my hips, it
Right.
would say, go for it. You know, she's reacting to him, go for it. But there's something that was just telling me, don't,
Yeah.
it's not that. And that's how I discovered the fourth center, which is the gut. Now, the gut ones are a safety and security. And again, it's great because in situations like this, it helped me honor my boundary. I'm extremely sensitive. Okay. I'm like, especially energetically, I'm very receptive. So for me, engaging sexually with someone that I don't want, it has a really deep impact on my body.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, my gut stepping in, like literally saved me. It would have
Mm.
felt like self-abuse in my case.
Mm.
So again, I was so grateful for the gut, but of course, I've been in phases where gut took over, and then you don't ever want to try something new because it's not safe.
Mm.
So I was going through all of these chapters, and my main point is this. I've experienced different cults, schools, environments where they would praise one of these centers.
Mm.
And what I have experienced is what you said, is the sense of wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
That the only way to really feel aligned and good in life is when you listen to all of them. And so
Mm.
this is what the book is about. It introduces you to the centers, but mostly it's about connecting to all of them and then having a relationship and negotiating with them all so that at any given time all four of them are happy, because you
Mm.
don't ever want to pick one over the other. You know, you don't want to
Mm.
favor any of them because they're going to get you in trouble. But once you can balance this, so like in your
Mm.
case, right, you have your heart that is telling you help people, and then you have your hips that add another perspective that allow you to make sure that it's integrated, right? But it's not that you suddenly stopped listening to your heart. And
Right.
so instead of switching between these voices, which most of us do that, you
Mm.
want to bring them together and integrate them. And this is
Mm.
when you do this, there is this feeling of like, okay, I am truly aligned. I'm truly integrated. I know what is good for me. I don't need to ask anyone else. Like as women, goodness, we outsource our
Yeah.
like life, you know, and I even say this, we outsource what boyfriend, friends, father, but also all the coaches, astrology and human design, which I love. I love. But how often,
Ultimately.
like,
Yeah.
I don't have the answer. I need to do my oracle cards, right? Instead of what about just actually asking yourself? So all of this
Yeah.
for me, it's about bringing that in. And that essentially builds an incredibly intimate connection to self.
Totally. I love this. This is so awesome. I'm reminded as you're speaking with these centers, my So I do psychedelic somatic integration work with my clients. So I do private calls, group calls, I do retreats, but I also do these deep immersions, utilizing medicine to stay in the body, not like a tier 3 journey. So we're not high, we're not checking out. It's not like a trip. It's a very low dose,
Yes.
just to support them to get out of the mind and into the primary consciousness of the body. And it helps them to feel emotions and sensations that they normally push away and disassociate. And so I did this for a year and a half myself before I started facilitating with my clients. And on one of my last journeys with my facilitator, just like you were saying with these centers, they might even be spot on 4 for 4. But there was, in order to integrate, at least my experience is not like, well, I think I'll just integrate. It's a path of hell, at least for me. Had to go through like terror, self-loathing, rage, doubt, and insecurity. Like I had to face so many shadows in these different centers, to the point where like sometimes it was so awful. I was so sad. I just wish I was dead. Like I just wish, I don't even want to inhale. There's not even any more tears left. I'm so sad. Just like stuff that was so hard. And as my facilitator just kept saying, let's allow that. Take me with you. You're not alone. And I would just feel and surrender. As the feeling occurred and I surrendered to the body, trusting the autonomic nervous system to get me home, and felt this as it integrated, at least my experience was, the center woke up, but it woke up as like a persona. It woke up as like a dragon or a goddess or like an indigenous crone with like crazy white hair sticking out and all like real beings. It felt like lived inside me. Like I was bringing home multidimensional parts of myself as I was integrating all of these aspects. And it came through ultimately self-forgiveness and self-love is where I got to at the end. But the path was very uncomfortable, but so massively empowering. And the best word I have is a wholeness now. I don't listen, as you said, like a ping pong. It's like a symphony. It's like a harmony, many harmonies. You can hear them all and you just know what you know. I used to be like a nonstop dowser. I wouldn't do anything without dowsing, right? And I don't do that anymore. I can listen, but it's taken me a long time. So have you ever woken up these sort of beings inside you with any work you've done?
I have mostly faced my demons throughout sexual healing practices. So the way I look at things is that there's so many different modalities and paths to heal and to open. That's why I always say, like, I don't say that Tantra is the path for everyone. It's a path that really worked for me.
Yeah.
But other people will resonate with other modalities of healing, and that's fine because ultimately they really do a similar thing. It's not like one is better or more sacred, I believe, than the other. So it's really about what resonates. And you have, by the way, it sounds amazing what you shared. But you have this specific modality that clearly you have resonance with.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest release was through sexual tantra. So I had yoni massages done, and I remember this one was like 4 hours long, and I was hitting the guy. I was screaming like, oh my God, I was exhausted. There was another time when I was with my tantric lover, and during sex, again, because it's done in a conscious way, you move energy and these things would come up. It's like I was going back into the old trauma. It felt like abuse in my body. And the way I have experienced these things, and like in the past, I needed to give it more meaning and understand it. Now I'm just like, okay, that's how it comes. That's fine. But I had visions of like this, for example, this one story that happened actually during a meditation, nothing with Tantra, that I just saw myself as this woman, like in middle ages in a village, and I was attacked by all the men in the village, and I was raped. And in that moment, I chose I wanted to die. And so I died. And now you could say, oh, is it a past life experience? Maybe it is, but maybe it's also my subconscious giving me that specific vision to add a visual to whatever energy I'm processing. Again, I don't need to know exactly what it means, but I have had a lot of releases from sexual healing practices. So basically, most of these things were in some way around sexuality, some form of abuse, taken advantage of, not having boundaries. So mostly it was coming up in these moments. But I will say, you know how I look at this? I feel, okay, imagine you have your house, right? And if you never clean, then, well, you gotta do like proper cleaning. You gotta move the furniture, right? Like you gotta really, really shake everything up. But once you've cleaned the house like that, then it's more about the maintenance, right? It's like, yes, every now and then you still need to move things around, but you don't have to do this kind of general massive cleaning. Like maybe there is some like stain on the ceiling. You don't have to like scrape these things off anymore because you did the big part. So what I find with people is that there is going to be a time in your life where the healing is going to be really intense, like really, really intense, because we probably hadn't done the healing before. But then once you move through that phase of intense healing, later on, you don't need that intensity anymore. And in fact, I find it can be really a lot for the nervous system. As long as you keep doing the maintenance work, you keep checking in with yourself, whatever, again, the tools are that you're using, then I find that this is enough, that it doesn't have to be as I even would say demonic as you know it was in the past. But then again, you know, maybe there's another thing in your life that just feels like, oh, you know what, you've done all of that work, let's now go here, and again you're going to have this deep process. So again, we never know what is the, you know, the soul's path in this life. But absolutely, I have had these incredibly deep experiences, and I'll tell you this. These were some of the most incredible experiences in my life. Yes, they were scary, they were intense, but look how much work you have to do in your body to be able to welcome that. Like how open we have to be to welcome that. And for that, I'm super proud for that I faced that.
Yeah, same fist pump. Yeah.
Yeah.
See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. Wasn't part 1 delicious? Talking with her and getting on with her so quickly. Sisterhood energy, delicious, flirtatious energy made me, and then beginning to learn, more is revealed in the second half as well, about what it was like to live in a, she said it is her words, a sex cult, the polyamory, the freedom of expression. And yet when we talk about masculine and feminine energies within us all, there wasn't the balance of making money, making an impact, the foundational parts of being on the planet. And she craved that, and she's so grateful for what she experienced, and she's complete, and she's moved back to Poland. So as you complete this part 1 of part 2 of these podcasts, have a look. Where are you maybe out of balance? And not that everybody needs to be like this androgynous, masculine, feminine, whatever person, not like that. But there are times in life where the feminine expression, it's time for you to risk showing up more. And there's times in life where the masculine presence, awareness, consciousness, you know, taking those steps to have the more solid foundation in our life around money, around alignment with our purpose, where it's time to risk putting our stake in the sand. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. And letting go of the drama of anything around money or I don't have freedom of expression. Bullshit. We can all create whatever it is we're here to create. We might just have to do what we've been unwilling to do to have that which we don't yet have. So have a look, see how this has inspired you to be more organically balanced in your gifts, your expression, and receiving all that you receive as you give your gifts to the planet. So please follow her if you're not following her already. Get her book, No More Faking It, if you haven't already. And of course, reach out to me if the work that we do here around intimacy, integrity, authenticity, truth, living without apology, integrating traumas so that our programs are no longer running the show. Our truth is. I'm here for you. All right, I love you, and I'll see you next time.